Hey everybody, Robert here from Black Belt Gaming, continuing to read through Adventures Dark and Deep, and today I'm heading into the Barbarian class. We talked about the Barbarian race before. These kind of took, it appears to me as if maybe some of the information about the Barbarian was kind of divided, so that you would have some of this associated with a Barbarian human. And, they didn't have to be a barbarian class. They could be a skald, which is sort of like a barbaric bard. But here, we're kind of doubling up on barbarian. We're going with the barbarian race and the barbarian class. So let's check it out. Required statistics are strength 15, dexterity 14, constitution 15, wisdom 16. But that wisdom 16, I think, is a maximum, not a minimum. So that's an interesting listing there. Only human barbarian, the race, can be a barbarian class. You get a D12 for hit points. Your alignment must be non-lawful. And you get to use pretty much any weapons or armor that you want to. But there are some considerations, things to be taken into consideration about this. So barbarians who choose or act in a way that changes their alignment to lawful have become civilized, and they're no longer considered one of the barbarian class. They're considered a fighter. And they lose their barbarian powers. They keep their hit points earned as barbarians. Was there any other text here? But only use a D10 afterwards after gaining a new level. And barbarians advance and level according to the following table. You're in for a long wait. A barbarian going from level 1 to level 2 is 6,000 experience points. So that is like 3 times what it takes to advance as a fighter. So D12 per level. You have this anti-magic bias. They have an intense distrust and fear of magic and magic users. They're reluctant to even associate with spellcasters, except for some clerics that might kind of match up with their beliefs, and will actually seek to destroy most magical items. And you can find this information back, which we covered in the race section. So look for the barbarian race. Armor class bonus. When wearing armor that does not inhibit movement, and I guess there is a page here in the book which we can reference. All the armor with a listed movement of 100% qualify. So why don't we take a look at this? And there we have it. Armor type and movement. So no armor, you get 100% movement, right? A helmet or a shield, same. If you have a cuirass, like a leather one, no problem. Some furs, a gambeson. Anything after that, even I believe this is called lamellar, the leather, that gives you a 75 movement. You're already starting to get slowed down here. Ringmail, brigandine, scale, all of this is going to continue to slow you down, and I don't think the barbarian bonus here is going to apply. So just, I guess, the best armor class just from the base armor that you can have is an 8 from like furs or a gambeson or a leather cuirass. And you could probably add a shield to this, maybe make it a 7, but that's as good as it's going to go. All right, so we're back at it here. When wearing those armors that do not inhibit movement, and you're carrying a shield that's a medium or small shield, the barbarian is able to apply his natural reflexes to great advantage in combat. He receives a +2 bonus to his armor class for every point of dexterity over 14. If he's wearing any more bulky armor or carrying any large shield, they only get a +1 bonus per point of dexterity over 14. Note that this is instead of the natural armor class adjustment for dexterity, so it doesn't combine with that. It's sort of an extra dodging ability that barbarians will bring with them in combat. Barbaric charisma. When dealing with other barbarians, they're able to add their level to their charisma score for things such as reaction adjustment, morale, etc. Wow, that's a pretty big deal. So barbarians have a natural movement of 150, and that's quite fast. They have their natural ability to leap and jump, so there's some measurements here about how far they can jump just standing still, or if they get a running start, and it's some pretty impressive distances. Multiple attacks per round. They're able to get more than the standard 1 attack per round in melee, and when facing opponents with a D4 or D6, just like with the fighter, they get a number of attacks equal to their level. That's an interesting point. I do not remember that being there from the Unearthed Arcana Barbarian, but I could be wrong. I just don't have it in front of me. But I always thought that was just a fighter thing. I didn't think that any of the other subclasses of fighter got that, but it's here. It's here with the Barbarian. And I don't mind it being with the Barbarian. So a 3rd level Barbarian attacking a 1st level magic user would get 3 attacks per round. That's just like we were reading with the fighter. So, oh wow, they actually get more attacks per round, I think at a sooner level than the fighters do. But as you saw, it takes a lot more experience points to level up. So Barbarians level 1 to 5 get 1 attack per round, but at level 6, not 7, they get 3 attacks per 2 rounds, and at level 11, 2 attacks per round, instead of, 13 for the fighter. But I don't see anything about weapon specialization, so that could change things with the fighter. The Barbarian may have some required weapon proficiencies, such as the hand axe, knife, and spear, as weapons in which they are proficient. And this can depend on the origin of the Barbarian. You need to check with your game master. 6th sense. This allows them to know that they're being attacked from behind. So for each level, the Barbarian has a 5% to detect such an attack. If successful, the Barbarian wheels around to face his attacker. This is kind of a common thing I've seen in other write-ups of the Barbarian, negating the bonus. And I like this. In addition, the Barbarian gets a bonus strike for the round against the attacker. That does not count against his normal attacks per round. That's vicious. I've never seen that before. If it's been in a write-up of a class before, I just don't remember it, but that's cool. They not only sense the attack coming and cancel it, but they actually get to take a free strike at the enemy. So be careful about sneaking up on a Barbarian. Woodcraft, we read about that. It's not cutting logs and making canoes. It's it's about survival skills out in the woods. So your game master might help you talk about what other skills are best associated with barbarians in your game world. So advanced ability description, summon horde. Beginning at 8th level, the barbarian may summon a horde of fellow barbarians. And this must be done in his native land and can only be done for a limited duration and set purpose, such as drive the invaders from the land and sack the fortress. So the size of the horde depends on the level. So At level 8, you can have a horde size of 275, or it always, it ranges up to a 12th level barbarian being able to collect about 2,000. So for every level above 12th, the horde increases by 500. The horde will remain for as many weeks as the barbarian has levels, and this limit can be extended by 1 or 2 weeks for each of the following reasons. Maybe there's a lot of treasure being given out, a certain goal is close to being reached, the horde leader is a tribal leader, the horde leader has a charisma of 23. Okay, that must be when they're adding their charisma score and their level together. Gotcha, okay. I was like, wow. In addition to the regular members of the horde, 2 captains will also be in the service, each of whom they're half the level of the barbarian leader, rounded down. Each of them, in turn, will have 2 lieutenants of half their level, again, rounded down. So, there you have it. Remember briefly that our barbarians just have that distrust of magic, and again will often seek to break apart magical items. They gain experience for doing such. I'd be interested to know in the comments if any of you have played the barbarian, probably from Unearthed Arcana, and had one. Did it cause problems within the party with destroying magical items and such? And I think, not to be dismissed, the barbarians' dislike of magic and such still gives them sort of a natural ability, once they're high enough, to hit creatures that other players can't hit unless they have a magical item. So a barbarian with a regular sword might be able to strike a creature that is normally only hurt by a weapon that is +1 or higher. So I'd have to trace that back to the barbarian race, but I believe that comes in there. Could be around level 4 or so, but I do read a lot of games, so I don't want to get those numbers mixed up. But check out the barbarian race again. I did a video on that. And you kind of put those two together. Put the race of barbarian together with the class, and you'll have it all there.